What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of Down Once More. Matt here, and I've got a little bit of a grab bag episode for you today. The 78th annual Tonys were held this past weekend, so we're going to do some recaps on the musical categories of that, as well as Wicked for Good released its first teaser trailer, as well as a second shorter teaser during the Tonys, and then a few other random news things thrown in there as well. And I might sneak in a little Love Island USA season 7 talk at the end. So let's get into it. As always, I will call out time codes down below, so if there's a topic that isn't really your jam and you want to skip, feel free to do so. Listen to what you like to. Right, let's start with the Tonys. That was the biggest thing that happened. And so 78th annual Tonys were held this past weekend, hosted by Cynthia Erivo. Act 1 was hosted by Darren Criss and Renee Elise Goldsberry over on Pluto TV. I did not get the chance to watch Act 1, which is a lot of the kind of behind the scenes awards, costuming, choreography. And behind the scenes isn't really fair. And it's kind of disappointing that those don't get more of a shine and spotlight, because of those a lot of times are the people who make the musical what it is. Without those, it wouldn't have the same impact. Especially something I've been hearing raves about on the play side, not musical side, is the Stranger Things play that opened on Broadway. Just the technological aspects of that and the lighting, and it won a lighting award. But those things I wish would get celebrated a little bit more. I get it's hard, it's already a 3-hour show holding people's attention, but even just a call out of the winners from those earlier categories more throughout the actual broadcast, I feel like would be something and a step in the right direction. But this year's Tonys were hosted by Cynthia Erivo, and I have to say, my experience with Cynthia Erivo, I know she has had a fantastic stage career and has an amazing voice, as shown in Wicked as Elphaba, and a number of roles on stage and working Color Purple and things like that. But I had just seen clips from the Wicked press tour, and those, of course, they're taken out of context, and the ones that are going to get the views and traction are going to be the ones that are a little cringe or uncomfortable. And so that was kind of my only experience of her other than in Wicked. And I felt like she was a fantastic Tonys host. I get paranoid and have to check and make sure I haven't accidentally muted myself on the mic, because I've done that multiple times. But her opening number and the other songs that she performed were just beautiful. Such a powerful voice. And I felt like she kept the show moving well. And the jokes, the gags weren't too over the top, cringy. I felt like they worked. I felt like her call outs of Jonathan Groff, which, if you aren't familiar with him and his work as well, known for being a very spitty man when he sings. And there were clips from press tour with him and Daniel Radcliffe, and I'm blanking on the actress's name, from the show that he won an award for last year, and about him just being so salivating and lots of spit flying and how he stays hydrated, and hilarious clip, him talking about he just gets wet, and them just a phrasing moment, and Cynthia Erivo calling that out, a little nod to it that people who know, and I thought it made me laugh out loud. I loved it. She did a fun Oprah gag about having Oprah check under her seat. Did the "you get a car." I loved that. And I thought she kept the show moving really well. So shout out to Cynthia Erivo as a host. There was some kind of not necessarily backlash, but talk beforehand. They released lottery tickets for the Tonys, but the lottery tickets were for $495 lottery tickets, which the concept just seems wild. Usually the lottery tickets give you the opportunity to get seats you might not otherwise at a significantly discounted rate. Now, that is still a significantly discounted rate for the Tonys, still just crazy expensive. But the highlights of the show for me, and then we'll go through some of the winners. Non-winner highlights: Jonathan Groff's performance, doing a song, Bobby Darin song from his performance in Just in Time, a new show that opened up not too long ago on Broadway, which he was nominated for leading actress in a leading actor in a musical for his performance. But during his performance, he just brings so much energy in general. I'm a huge Jonathan Groff fan. I was first introduced to him in Glee. But there's one point where Keanu Reeves was there, and he jumped up on Keanu's chair and was standing on the armrest straddling him, and Keanu's reaction and the whole thing, just priceless, perfect. Loved that moment, and that was early in the show. Another big one was the original Hamilton cast members reuniting and performing a Hamilton mixtape of a number of shows, from a number of songs and numbers from the show, celebrating its 10-year anniversary. And it was just wonderfully done and mashed up, and the choreography just brings you back, and these people haven't missed a step in it at all. Although I will say, so many positive reviews online, but people talking about the ending, how, man, they really had the history has its eyes on you, right? When Angelica is singing, he will never be satisfied. And that's saying, like, they were trying to say something with it. I mean, yes, Lin-Manuel Miranda said that everything was calculated with the performance. However, that's just how Nonstop ends. Like, I'm wondering, the people were saying that, I'm like, are you actually a fan of the musical as a whole? Because if you're familiar with the musical, that's how Nonstop ends. That's how it goes, that mashup just to close Act 1. And so I was confused why people didn't get that. But fantastic performance. I had like chills, and it is available online. It's like 5 minutes long. Wonderful mashup, fantastic performances from the original cast. Check it out. Definitely a highlight of the show for me. And then Sarah Bareilles and Cynthia Erivo sang Tomorrow from Annie during the In Memoriam segment, and they sounded absolutely beautiful together. It was a fantastic performance. Tomorrow seems like a weird song choice for the In Memoriam segment, but hey, maybe not. But they did a great job with it. Another highlight, non-award wise, was Audra McDonald's performing Rose's Turn from Gypsy. Just, man, her performance then going right into the nominees and her not winning was a little bit stunning for me. I get she's one of the most awarded, Tony awarded people and performers out there, and just so insanely talented. But the energy and just the emotion she brought into the performance of Rose's Turn was so good, so good. And there is a cast recording of her cast on Gypsy out there that you can check out. Okay, so one other thing I had mixed feelings on. They decided, instead of playing people off with music, they had Cynthia Erivo singing the "And Now the End Is Near." That, pardon my poor singing voice. I had mixed feelings on it. I do think it was more effective in getting people to hurry up and get off stage. However, it felt just like it made me like cringe inside, because it just feels more rude because it happened a couple times when people were trying to say like important things, like about either social issues or things that are important to them, and then you have her vocals playing them off and just like essentially talking over them, and it just made me cringe from uncomfortableness a couple times. But I'm going to just highlight the musical awards, but one non-musical award I wanted to call out was Cola Scola winning Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Play for their role as Mary Todd Lincoln in Oh Mary, which they also wrote. And the acceptance, Cola Scola's acceptance speech was hilarious for me. I thought they did a great job with it. They're wearing a dress paying homage to... I see, sometimes I'm bad with words, but to Bernadette Peters' dress from, I think it was the 1999 Tonys, and just running to the podium in the dress was just fantastic. Cola Scola has just a fantastic energy. I was first introduced to them in the HBO series Search Party, and Cola Scola is the first openly non-binary performer to win a Tony fun fact, and also was given a choice on which category they'd want to be nominated for. And so, interesting interview with Cole in Vanity Fair, and we're kind of talking about that in general. And it was a stacked category. It had George Clooney in it, Daniel Day Kim, just a very stacked leading actor role, and it was neat to see Cole Scola get up there, accept the award, and do their thing. And calling out Tebow from Grindr and thanking them in the acceptance speech made me laugh. I thought that was hilarious. All right, let's get into the musical wins. The big winner of the night was Maybe Happy Ending. Most wins for a musical with 6 awards, including Best Musical, Best Performance by an Actor in a Leading Role in a Musical for Darren Criss, Best Direction of a Musical for Michael Arden, who also had a funny moment in his acceptance speech where he said, and if there's any queer people watching tonight, and they kind of paused because it's musical theater awards, it said Happy Pride. I thought that moment was funny. And then Best Original Score for Maybe a Happy Ending. So Best Original Score, Music and or Lyrics written for the theater, given to Will Aronson and Hugh Park. Best Scenic Design of a Musical, and Best Book of a Musical. So 6 awards for Maybe Happy Ending. Best winner there. I have to say, this is one that I've tried to listen to the original Broadway recording cast album, and it's not my thing. I feel like, I don't know if I'm just not in the right mindset and if it's one you need to see to experience, but even the performance at the Tonys seemed like an interesting choice. Now the performers, Helen J. Shen, I believe, and Darren Criss both did a fantastic job, but nothing about that performance made me want to go see that musical more. But I'm obviously in the minority since it won so many awards. The second most wins for a musical was Buena Vista Social Club, which came away with 4 wins. Best Performance by an Actress in a Featured Role in a Musical for Natalie Venetia Belcon. Best Choreography, Best Orchestrations, and Best Sound Design of a Musical. And then Sunset Boulevard came away with 3 wins. So it had Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Musical. Nicole Scherzinger came away with that one. Best Revival of a Musical, and Best Lighting of a Musical. So a number of wins for the Andrew Lloyd Webber musical there. Death Becomes Her won Best Costume Design of a Musical. Paul Tazewell, who did costuming for Hamilton, and also for their performance tonight at the Tonys. He did costuming for that as well. And then Operation Mincemeat, Jack Malone won Best Performance by an Actor in a Featured Role in a Musical for that. So those were some of the key musical wins that came away. So obviously, Maybe Happy Ending, the big winner there. If you've seen it or if you're a fan of the album, let me know if I'm off base. What kind of mindset do I need to go into this? Do I need to understand the story more? Is it not when you just listen to the album? What am I missing? But I do love Darren Criss. Also introduced to him in Glee. Fantastic in Glee as Blaine. But I thought this was I'll be honest, and I'll probably lose a little bit of street cred for this. This was the first Tonys that I've ever fully watched. I sacrificed Love Island to watch the Tonys. I did my due diligence. And so I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed seeing the performances from all the nominees for Best Musical and Best Revival of a Musical. The one that did make me want to see it more was the performance from Dead Outlaw. I'm intrigued by that story. It just recently made its Broadway transfer not too long ago. And Dead Outlaw is one that I want to see more of. They only have part of the Broadway cast album. They released part 1, which I think has 6 songs, is out now. So you can check out part of that. I enjoyed that. I'm a big Jeremy Jordan fan, so his performance from Floyd Collins, I really enjoyed that as well. That one is they recorded a cast album. I have not seen a date on when that will release. That was up for Best Revival of a Musical. And then Megan Hilty in a performance of For the Gays from Death Becomes Her. I thought that was a really fun number, kind of the first number to open up the show. And that was for Best Musical. And so I really enjoyed that. Megan Hilty I've been a fan of since Smash. So I enjoyed seeing her have kind of the spotlight on the Tonys there. Neat to see. So that's going to do it for Tony's Talk. Staying in the theater realm, there was a stream. I didn't get to check out the whole thing, and I'm not sure if it's available to watch back. Is they live streamed the final performance of Good Night and Good Luck on Broadway, which was the play that George Clooney was up for Best Leading Actor in. He was a producer on the play. He directed the movie of it and starred in the movie in a different role. But this was the first time they were calling out. So it was live streamed on CNN and HBO Max. It was the first time a live Broadway play had been televised worldwide. And I thought that what I was able to check out of it, I thought was really well done. And I think this is a interesting new medium. It'll be interesting to see if they take more shows this way, especially one if they want to start appealing to a larger audience and attracting more people to the theater. If we start seeing more live streams of Broadway shows, I'm all for that. I've said on here many times that seeing a show on stage and a pro shot from on stage, I feel like is one of the best ways to experience a Broadway show. And so I'd love to see them apply that to musicals. Now, there were a couple like sound issues and things like that, which is to be expected. It's one of the first times something this large has been done. I think it's just really cool that they did that and try to make this story a little bit more accessible and available to people. So, and one last thing just got announced today. So I'm recording this on Tuesday, the 10th. Christian Douglas just got announced that he will be taking the role and playing Christian in Moulin Rouge on Broadway starting on July 22nd, which was a cool announcement to see because I just saw this past year, earlier this year, saw Christian Douglas in the national tour of Moulin Rouge, and he was fantastic as Christian. So really excited people are going to get the opportunity to see him on Broadway now in that role. I believe that means Jordan Fisher will be departing in the role. I'm not sure if he's leaving before then or not. I'm a big Jordan Fisher fan as well, but really it's cool to see people from the tour get to be on the big stage on Broadway. And I like being able to kind of shout out that, hey, seeing these people, I saw them, they were great in this role, especially in the same role. That's awesome to see. So, all right. We're sticking in the musical train. It is a musical podcast, even though it hasn't felt like it the past few months with The Last of Us going on. But this on Friday, June 6th, they had released the Heather's 10th Anniversary Deluxe album. So this was the album of the original recording, so the off-Broadway recording, and that cast. There's also a West End recording, which is what I'm more familiar with, which features a few songs. There were a few additional songs. There were a few songs cut from the original cast recording, the off-Broadway one. And so this is the 10th anniversary album of that off-Broadway cast recording, featuring Barrett Wilbert Weed as Veronica. So the deluxe album has versions of the songs from that were added to the West End show, as well as some kind of reimagining of some songs. The highlight to me, the big standout, is the symphonic version of 17 as performed by Crystalline Lloyd and George Salazar. And it is beautiful with the full symphonic orchestra behind it. It just makes that song seem so much more emotional and powerful. And I loved it. I'm a big George Salazar fan. Talked about that on here. I love Be More Chill, Michael in the Bathroom, one of my favorites. So really enjoyed that. Okay. The Wicked for Good trailer. Let's talk about that. I'm not going to do a full in-depth breakdown. There's plenty of other people that can give you so much more commentary on that. I also don't want to get into, granted, it's a 20-year-old Broadway show, but still, not everyone has had the opportunity to see it. So I'm not going to talk spoilers of what to come. My feelings, my initial thoughts after watching that trailer were, I feel like they showed too much. I feel like the tonal shift in the trailer going from Cynthia Erivo performing a kind of like it's cut up and edited for the trailer version of No Good Deed, and then going into Ariana Grande doing For Good, the tone of that did not flow well in the trailer. I felt like it felt disjointed. I thought it was kind of neat to see. We have now officially seen Dorothy and that posse more in the Wicked movie trailers than are ever present in the stage show. We never see Dorothy. We hear her talked about. We never see her in the stage show. So it'll be interesting to see how much more Dorothy and that gang we see in Wicked for Good. I still don't like the title at all. Eagle-eyed people have gotten some foreshadowing moments from the trailer. People came after the color grading. They're still coming in the first one. They're still coming after the color grading in this one. There are some bright, vibrant scenes. We see the witch doing her skywriting for the first time in this trailer. Call back to the original Wizard of Oz. So they're going to be expanding on a lot more in this one than the stage show. Act 2 of the stage show does feel a bit rushed and disjointed. So I'm very excited to see how that is fleshed out in the movie. There is one thing that takes place in that act that they have said they're changing fairly substantially for the movie. So I'll be curious to see what that looks like. It's sounding like it probably will get a PG-13 rating tacked on it just because there's some darker things that happen in this one, just the nature of it. But I'm excited to get more Cynthia and Ariana singing. I'm excited. I actually really love some of the songs in Act 2. No Good Deed is one of my favorites of the show just in general. And so I'm really excited for it. It's coming November 21st. I am going to go in cautiously optimistic, though. I'm worried with how successful the first one was and is. People are going to go in with very high expectations, probably a little bit unrealistic, expecting it to blow them away. And I don't know how they're going to feel after this. So, there were also some changes from the stage show that were apparent in the trailer, but like I said, I don't want to get into spoiler territory. But my feelings from the trailer, not wowed necessarily, cautiously optimistic, showed too much, weird song kind of shattered. It didn't flow well. The arrangement and editing in the trailer with the music didn't work for me. I liked hearing those clips of those two songs, but it didn't work for me. That's just me. That's just one man's opinion. So, all right. A few just random notes. Hulu released a direct-to-Hulu movie, Predator Killer of Killers. I'm really switching gears now. It was directed by Dan Trachtenberg, who did Prey, which was old Predators kind of like prequel, which I thought was fantastic. I absolutely loved. That was also a direct-to-Hulu streaming one. This one's animated. It's set in like 3 different time periods. There's Vikings, there's Japanese samurais, and then there's World Wars. And I thought it was really well done. A fantastic, like, you couldn't ask for much better in an animated Predators movie. So it's set up for a sequel. A lot of fun. Enjoyed it. If that's your thing, if you're a fan of the Predator or Alien vs. Predator franchise, check it out. I also finally got to watch Sinners, the Ryan Coogler movie with Michael B. Jordan, Haley Steinfeld. I absolutely loved it. And we might talk about it on here because it meets my criteria for a musical. It had more than 2 songs of the main characters singing and performing. So it means musical for me. The music is at the heart and soul of the movie. So we may talk about Sinners on here eventually. Another thing that's been prevalent in my world that is also musical related, so kind of going back to musicals, is Epic the Musical. I'm not Puerto Rican, so I cannot properly pronounce the name, but it is a musical from Jorge Rivera Herranz. It is the story of Odysseus from Homer's The Odyssey. It is told in 9 distinct sagas of Odysseus's journey. A few varies between, I think, like 4 and 5 or 6 songs per saga. There might be a saga with only 3 songs, but I have been listening to it a lot lately. When I was first told about it and checked it out, my first listen through, I wasn't quite sure. Jorge has said like heavily inspired by anime and manga, wanting to make it have that kind of accomplishing quests and that kind of storyline. And I do think that he accomplishes that. When I first listened to it, I'm like, I feel like it feels a little modern and TikTok-y for the subject, and some of the auto-tune took me out of it. However, the more and more I have listened to this, and the more I've seen interviews, well, not interviews, just videos. He posts a lot of information and behind the scenes stuff on his YouTube channel or TikTok. And the more seeing him talk about it and the thought that went into it, where you'll notice certain instruments tied to certain characters, different motifs that take place through in it. Really cool to see the thought and that went into it and the attention that goes into it. And I have fallen in love with it more. I have a top 10 songs, I think, as of right now. And I think Brad and I might talk about this at some point because he's a big Homer's Odyssey fan. But I'd encourage you to check it out. It's streaming. There's 9 sagas. The official saga order, I just made myself, there's a playlist on Spotify that goes in proper length. I did my own on Apple Music. I'm an Apple Music guy, I know. But first you had but the first saga is the Troy saga. Then you have the Cyclops saga. Then you have the Ocean saga, followed by the Circe saga, followed by, I'm just going through all of them, the Underworld saga. The Underworld saga is only 3 songs, so there's one with 3 songs. Then the Thunder saga, followed by the Wisdom saga, and then the Vengeance saga, closed out by the Ithaca saga. Saga, Sega, not Sega. Sega's the game thing. Saga. I was saying it right. But some of my favorite songs are Legendary. Not Sorry for Loving You. Not Sorry for Loving You is fantastic. Legendary is a lot more fun. Has a little bit more of a modern TikTok-y feel, but it works very well for the character. Another thing I will say with this, it has been put together, the fan art and animations for the songs, because it's just like essentially one big concept album. And supposedly they are working on an official animated film. But there are so many talented people in the fandom that have created animations for each song. And so there's a number of compilations on YouTube that compile these animations and tell it in one big, like 2.5 hour story. I would recommend checking out those. There's a ton of talented ones out there that pull everything together well. And that helped me appreciate it more. Being able to visualize some of what was going on really helped and made it come alive that much more to me. So I'm excited if this does actually turn into a full animated film with the same animation style throughout. Would be really cool to see. But like I said, Legendary, Not Sorry for Loving You, the entire Underworld saga, I really enjoy, especially the end of the Underworld saga going into the Thunder saga is fantastic and one of my favorite like arcs throughout there. So No Longer You from the Underworld saga, followed by Monster from Underworld saga, and then feeding into Suffering and Different Beast from the Thunder saga is just a fantastic 4-song just chunk there across those 2 sagas that I absolutely love. But I'd encourage you to check it out. It's a really cool project and I'm excited to see what comes of it. It seems like a really cool fandom too. Like I said, the fan art and animations that have come out of it have been fantastic. So I think that's going to do it for this week's episode. It's a mini episode. Stay tuned. Not quite sure what's coming next week. We'll try to think of something fun to do, but appreciate all of you. Oh, Love Island talk. Okay. I am going to talk a little bit of Love Island. So I am a few episodes behind. I have only watched the first week, which the first week I'm considering the start of the show till After Sun. In my opinion, After Sun, which is kind of the recap, we'll do some behind unseen bits moments or talk about interviews with Ariana Madix, former Islanders, people who have been eliminated, things like that. I'm considering that 1 week. So I've only watched the first week. I do not watch After Sun because I cannot, it doesn't do anything for me. I'm here for the drama in the villa. That's it. I've said it before. I don't care about the actual relationships. Like the last week of the show is when I'm checked out. Like I don't, no, I don't want that. I want the insane drama. Usually the first couple weeks are a little slow. I will say for the most part, nothing major has happened. But the first real, and I shouldn't say nothing major has happened. For my drama expectations level, we're not there yet, but I can sense things brewing. The very first episode, controversy right out the bat because they started about 45 minutes late. It was supposed to launch on Peacock at 8 o'clock Central Time. 8:05 comes around. They posted that it was going to be a little bit late, but it was worth the wait. It ended up starting out then 45 minutes late. There were no updates until it went live at about 8:45. They did something a little bit different when they had the girls pick the guys. All the guys came in, they chatted and everything beforehand instead of just coupling up right away. Previous seasons, and I'm a few seasons behind on UK. I first started watching Love Island from UK seasons 2 through 5, which I still think are the peak of Love Island. Seasons 2 through 5 of UK, peak Love Island. Season 6 of USA was pretty solid. Season 5 was okay, but 2 through 5 UK, that's peak for me. That it doesn't get much better than that for trashy reality television, which I absolutely love. So I don't know if they've switched this up in the UK, but this time, usually it's either guys or girls are picking, and then the others, they have people come down one at a time, step forward if you're interested in this person. And so you kind of made an instant decision. It wasn't everyone come down and then you step forward. This time they had the girls were there first. Then they have all the guys come in and they chatted for a few minutes. And then they had the guys stand out there. The girls had to make out with two guys and then pick which one of those two they wanted to couple up with. Wild take. I appreciate getting into the kind of wildness right off the bat. I'm all here for it. Everyone played pretty nice for the most part, except Yulissa stole Ace from Shelley. But following the release, social media, maybe this started as soon as the cast was announced. Social media sleuths got after it. Yulissa, years ago on a podcast, said the N-word. Get her out of here. So episode 2, it was just announced Yulissa has left the villa. I love his name, Ian, the announcer who came over from Love Island UK, and I feel like it elevates it. I enjoy his kind of cheesy humor and dialogue and narration throughout. But that's they got Yulissa out of the video there. People are trying to get Austin out too, because of his political opinions, liked a few pro-Trump tweets. People don't love that. Think he needs to be the next one voted out. I not get into politics, but this is a trashy reality dating show. I do not necessarily agree with the man's politics. However, I do not think just your political thing, granted, it can mean you're a hateful piece of shit. I don't know, but I'm not going to say that's a foregone conclusion and means you should not be on the show. I think Austin should be eliminated because Austin sucks. But every conversation he has is so cringe. Him and Shelley are matched up awful. Again, I cannot speak to what has happened in or Monday's episodes yet, because I'm behind. But the first week's episode, everything is just so awkward when he's talking, and there's just something that it doesn't flow. And then his numbers when they revealed, like, this man sent thousands of nudes. I think his body count was 103, 104, high body count. We don't slut shame on here. And dude, you want to send your nudes? Go for it. However, every conversation he has, before the last episode that I watched, we had 2 new bombshells come in, and his conversation with Hannah, just getting into the sex stuff right off the bat and talking about needing someone who is adventurous in all things. That whole conversation was just ultra cringy to me, but I don't know. But just a couple highlights so far, my thoughts. Huda and Jeremiah coupled up. Huda's plan of not wanting to tell any of the guys that she has a kid until she knows it's real, I feel like is so fucking back ass words that it makes no sense to me. That makes it seem like you're just trying to trap this guy, because that's a pretty big thing. You said your daughter is so important in your life. If it were me, again, I don't have kids, so to each their own, but if it were me, I would be upfront with the kid at the beginning to see if that is a deal breaker for you. I want to know before I start really catching feelings and really getting connected with you. That's what I would want, but that's just me. Instead, she's like, I want to wait until I build a connection. I feel like feelings are there, and then I'm going to tell them that I have a kid and see how they react. Jeremiah did not react the best. Jeremiah also seems like he's just here to play the game and win. He even straight up said to her, I was thinking, if we win this, you can't say that. You're going to make people turn on you and vote you out. Like, it makes it seem like you're not there for the right reasons. Although I think it's wild. This is Love Island. It's drama. I want the drama. So that's where I'm torn too, because Ace is messy. Ace is just trying to stir the shit and get things going, especially with Jeremiah and Huda. He just likes to poke the bear, because I think he can sense Jeremiah and Huda from night one were just bam. They moved so fast with their connection and like love bombing essentially right off the gate. It's too soon for Love Island. You got to explore your options. But Huda's gets super jealous. Jeremiah's gotten super jealous. They just seem so toxic. But I have seen people online, they're like, no, we don't vote them out. We want to keep them as a couple, because the Casa Amor thing, Jeremiah's gonna crash out when he gets there and surrounded by all that, and Huda is away, so he's not having to worry about that backlash. And then when he comes back, if he comes back with another girl, or when they do what they always do, show the videos of things that happen at Casa Amor, it is going to be wild. I think it's gonna be crazy. Also, I don't know what it is. Huda, a little more cringe, kind of gives me Janae vibes from last season for some reason. But Janae, not as cringe as Huda and love bombing right away. Just want to be clear about that. I'm torn. There's no one in this cast yet that I necessarily love. So far, Shelly has been one of my favorites of the girls. I feel like she has a fairly level head. And I tend to agree with her. She's trying to like kind of counsel and calm down Huda a little bit, rein her in. She's not getting overly pissed when the guy she's coupled up with, which is Austin, which they've kind of said there's not a romantic thing there, at least what I've watched through. And so, but then she kind of has a little bit of thing with Ace and a little bit of thing with Charlie. I think she's pretty much done with Charlie. Charlie just seems, I like Charlie. I think his British accent is good. I think some of it, that's a weird thing. He's actually British, so of course. But I think I would think more girls would be into that. However, I think when he revealed some of his stats and numbers, that put off a few girls, gave kind of a little bit more player vibes. And then I think that he's just very cheesy. I feel like he thinks he's smooth, but he's not. He's essentially given the same speech on the pier to two different people, and just like about like, oh, well, maybe like about for a kiss, and is just like cheesy with it and not smooth. So I think there will be a girl for him. I just don't know who it is yet. So I don't know. I did see who's got left, voted off. I don't know how exactly it took place, but I did see that, got that spoiled on social media. But I don't know. I don't have strong feelings. I like Olandria too. I like Taylor. They are weird together for me. Taylor also is, I don't know, there's something about him, just a little bit immature, but in a fun way. I don't know. I generally like the cast, but I don't love anyone, if that makes sense. This isn't a, oh my God, I cannot stand this cast. That's what the Love Island UK season 1, that was kind of the vibes. I'm like, I really don't like anyone in this. They're almost all annoying. I got to like Hannah towards the end just because she was ridiculous. And there's one thing at the end with her accent where she's just like, "Suck my dick." And it was, I don't know, I quote it. My wife hates it, but it's funny, makes me laugh. But most of the cast of Love Island UK season 1, I was not a fan of. So that's why I say start at season 2. But I'm excited. I think it's going to be a fun season of Love Island USA. My only kind of complaint, they're casting people who have large social media followings for the most part, like hundreds of thousands already. Those people, I feel like, are not going to be as willing to just be drama bombs. You would think they're going to be a little bit more calculated with how they're playing the game. I'd rather you get more unknowns in there, and with the opportunity to compete for $100,000, and people who don't really need to worry about their like social media following, or I mean, everyone has to worry about backlash, but I just want to do like American Idol back in the day when it was truly amateurs, not these people who are small musicians, just haven't made it big, or some that were big, but they hadn't made it big solo acts, things like that in American Idol and The Voice, I feel like takes away from them. I want this to be complete unknowns. I know that's never what it's been. It's always been kind of influencers and things like that, but I'd like to get some more unknown people in there, because I don't think people are watching it because they follow this person on social media. They watch it for hot people making fools of themselves and being absolutely insane on television. That's what we want. I don't care if I know who this person is or not. I'd actually rather not know the person. But just my 2 cents. I'd said I was going to end like 15 minutes ago, but then I got started on Love Island. I'm passionate about Love Island. So there's your Love Island week 1 kind of recap in the villa. Don't love necessarily any of the couples. Wild. We'll see what happens. I'm excited for more people to get into the villa. That's what I want. I want more people in here. I want more shit being stirred up, more chances to pull people different ways. That's what I want. All right. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week. Episodes drop Wednesday, 6 a.m. Central Time on YouTube, midnight on audio platforms. So like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts. If you're checking out Love Island, throw it in the comments. Hit me up. I'm always down to have a Love Island conversation. So literally go to our Instagram at Down Once More Pod and DM me, and we will talk Love Island. Do it. I want to have conversations. I need more people to talk to. As a 32-year-old man, I do not have many friends. The HR lady at work watches Love Island, but I feel weird having a Love Island conversation with HR. So, like, comment, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Thank you all. Love you all. Don't forget to go down once more. Later.